WWE Extreme Rules was a great pay-per-view right up to the very final moments. Then something happened that has to rival the Seth Rollins vs Bray Wyatt Hell in a Cell match in terms of disappointing finishes. Even though they got it right with The Undertaker and Kane in the Attitude Era, it is clear that WWE does not book supernatural characters well anymore. WWE Extreme Rules was a testament to that. The only missteps from the company during this pay-per-view were in this regard. What did you guys think of WWE Extreme Rules? Be sure to share your thoughts and views in the comments. Would you say it was a better show than AEW Grand Slam? Number 3, Best and Worst. WWE Extreme Rules saw a great match followed by a weird segment. Alexa Bliss vs Charlotte Flair was a pretty good match where both women proved why they are top-tier performers. That said, the way that the bout ended with the disembowelment of Lily leaves much to be desired. One has to believe that the fact that Bliss spent so much time during WWE Extreme Rules crying over a doll was a damp squib in the overall proceedings. While Alexa Bliss is obviously a talented and gifted performer who's 100% committed to her character, there was a major botch with her at WWE Extreme Rules that was outright embarrassing to watch. The cameras focused on a tablet in her mouth, which was supposed to make her froth following her loss. That said, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are clearly not done with one another. One has to wonder where things will go following the pay-per-view. Has Flair messed with powers beyond her control that will come back to bite her over the long haul? Number 2, Best. The Usos and the Street Profits tore it up. What was the best WWE Extreme Rules match according to you? The honor has to probably go to the Usos versus the Street Profits, two teams that absolutely tore it up in the ring. The SmackDown Tag Team Championship division may not necessarily be the most exciting thing in sports entertainment, but these performances can remind the audience about the depth it has. Number 2, Worst. How WWE Extreme Rules concluded. Listen, it's the job of a journalist to be impartial and not root for either of the participants in a match. So, all that would have been required from the creative team at WWE Extreme Rules was a finish that would have made sense. Unfortunately, with the rope breaking after a sudden burst of strength from the Demon, all logic and sanity flew out of the window, and the match wasn't too shabby up to that point. How cool was it to see Roman Reigns enter the crowd with a COVID mask? That was pure gold. Number 1, Best. Jeff Hardy proves he can hang with the best. The other great WWE Extreme Rules match was the United States Championship one where Jeff Hardy reminded us why he's the best even to this day. Sheamus and Damian Priest were both great dance partners. One has to hope that Vince McMahon realizes that he has a legitimate top-tier talent in Jeff Hardy. One has to hope that he doesn't get lost in the shuffle after WWE Extreme Rules. Number 1, Worst. Was the WWE Extreme Rules pay-per-view really all that extreme? Doesn't it make sense to have more than one extreme match when you name a pay-per-view WWE Extreme Rules? The pay-per-view featured some great wrestling and a massive return by Sasha Banks, but it wasn't all that extreme. WWE either tends to go overboard with Hell in a Cell matches, with 3 on the same pay-per-view, or under-deliver on the extreme element in an event that was advertised as such. One has to wonder how many fans felt cheated because of false advertising. Charlotte Flair has revealed the reason behind destroying Lily at tonight's Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Flair defeated Bliss by pinfall to retain the title. Post-match, the Queen took Lily and ripped it into pieces, which led to a brawl between Flair and Bliss. Charlotte Flair then left for the back, leaving Alexa Bliss in a state of anger over the destruction of Lily. Soon after, Flair posted a tweet reacting to Lily's destruction. She also appeared in a backstage interview to reveal why she destroyed the doll. Flair broke the fourth wall during her interview and addressed Bliss by her real name. Flair stated that the woman she faced tonight was the old Alexa, and that was what the fans wanted to see. The Alexa I faced tonight was the old Alexa. It was the Alexa I saw when she held the Raw Women's Championship multiple times. Tonight, she fought me and faced me. Yes, I'm still the queen, but that's the Lexi we all want to see. I don't want to hear about Lily. Ripping up Lily was a wake-up call to remind her that she's still a champion at heart, said Charlotte. Alexa Bliss was devastated over the loss of Lily tonight. At WrestleMania 37, Bliss distracted The Fiend that led to his loss against Randy Orton. On Raw the next night, she made it clear that she didn't need The Fiend anymore. Bliss went on to introduce Lily to the WWE Universe. The doll was a mainstay on WWE Raw for months on end and was incredibly close to Bliss. Tonight, Charlotte Flair put an end to Lily following her title win over Bliss. Flair's post-match actions are an indication that we haven't seen the end of this rivalry. Charlotte Flair won the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam 2021 in a triple threat match against Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley. She has beaten Bliss as well and could move on to face a new challenger. Whether Bliss will allow her to move on is an entirely different question. Becky Lynch returned to WWE at SummerSlam this year after being absent for over a year. She defeated Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title in her return match, and the two women have been in a program since. WWE officials are reportedly happy with Lynch's return and feud with Belair. The man defeated the EST of WWE in just 26 seconds at SummerSlam. The two women clashed again at Extreme Rules, with Lynch being able to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Fightful Select has stated that WWE officials backstage are pleased with Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair's program on SmackDown. Lynch has impressed the top brass since her return to WWE. Officials backstage have been happy with the Becky Lynch/Bianca Belair program, per Fightful Select. Sasha Banks made her return at Extreme Rules. The former SmackDown Women's Champion went after her old rival Bianca Belair first, and then attacked Becky Lynch. It is clear that these three women will continue to feud going forward. Banks was initially set to face Belair at SummerSlam before she was pulled from the event as she wasn't cleared to compete. Lynch was brought in as a last-minute replacement for the Blueprint and ended up becoming the new champion. It had been reported that Banks had been cleared to compete for a long time, but wasn't being used as creative had no plans for her. Following up on reports she's been backstage at recent SmackDowns, Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri says Sasha Banks is medically cleared, but WWE Creative is still coming up with something for her. Sasha Banks has said that she will return to SmackDown this week. She is likely to confront current SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch on the show, possibly setting up a match between them. WWE Extreme Rules was a night full of crazy finishes and moments, and the return of Sasha Banks was certainly one of those moments. Sasha Banks has finally broken her silence following her return at Extreme Rules. While the message was short, it is powerful. The former multi-time women's champion says she will be returning to SmackDown next week. During what seemed to be the final moments of the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, the Boss made a furious return. Banks attacked Belair, giving her the DQ victory, but no title to show for it. Becky Lynch then seemed to try and form an alliance with Banks, but she too was attacked by Banks. Sasha Banks hasn't been seen on TV since the lead-up to SummerSlam, where she was slated to face Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship before getting pulled from the event without any explanation. Sasha Banks' return to WWE has drawn responses from WWE superstars and fans alike, one of them being Banks' best friend and enemy, Bayley. Like Banks' tweet, Bayley's tweet was short, but certainly not sweet. Bayley is one of Sasha Banks' closest friends, both off and at times on screen. However, the two are well known for being mortal enemies in between the ropes. They have clashed in multiple high-profile matches, and Bayley was engaged in an intense feud with Banks before getting injured last year. What will the Boss do in her WWE return? What will her impact be on SmackDown and the upcoming draft? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.